All right, hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mark McClinchy, and you are getting a shotgun seat as I drive through Pittsburgh. So I've started a series a few weeks back, just recording some of the drives that I'm doing as I go about my day. I'm a real estate agent. I cover the Pittsburgh region in and around Allegheny County. So I drive a lot, and one of the things that a lot of my clients want to know is, what is it like to drive in the Pittsburgh area? So these videos, a lot of people have given some great positive feedback, and you're going to get a sense of what it's like. So right now, let me back up a little bit and give you some context of where I'm driving. So I'm in Lawrenceville. Got a little bit of construction going on right here on Butler Street. And so Lawrenceville is a neighborhood in the city of Pittsburgh. And if you look on a map where Lawrenceville is, great little town, lots of great restaurants, and a lot of cool shops, has some really nice housing options, although it is continues to increase in price by a considerable amount. But we're not that far from downtown. You can maybe see off in the distance, you see the U.S. Steel building, which has the UPMC sign on the top. But we sort of left Lawrenceville. We're kind of, near the Strip District, and now we're going to cut up to Polish Hill, cut through Polish Hill, get on Bigelow Boulevard. We're going to Brookline on this drive. So I always try to do a drive from one section of town to another section, just to try to go through as many neighborhoods as possible. I also try to pick drives that really aren't super, I don't spend a ton of time in the car. So I think that's one of the great things about Pittsburgh is, even though we're going to go through, here's a nice sign right here, welcome to Polish Hill. Pittsburgh is a city of immigrants, after all, and so this was one of the communities maybe 100 or more years ago that was primarily inhabited by a lot of Polish folks. That's where we get some great Polish food, like pierogies and things like that. But as we go through, just trying to give you a sense of what it's like driving through. Polish Hill is a small little town, small little neighborhood, but really up and coming. Like, there's gotta some cool coffee shops, bars, restaurants that are kind of moving in. It's got an interesting sort of eclectic group of people. A lot of artists have moved in recently to Polish Hill, and people have renovated some homes, and you've got these steep hills. So right here we're at the intersection here with Bigelow Boulevard. If we go straight, we'd go over into the Hill District, but this is Bigelow Boulevard is one of my favorite streets to kind of make not necessarily a shortcut, but it's in a pretty congested city with a lot of stoplights. Like if you go through Oakland and that type of area, you'll just hit traffic lights a lot. So there's always a way around things. I think generally, people just have a negative view, and if you go into a Reddit forum or something like that, you're gonna probably read about people complaining about all things around Pittsburgh, whether it's the weather or whether it's the traffic. But that's another purpose of these videos, is not only to show you what traffic is really like, but to also show you the weather. You can actually see some blue sky. Like today's weather forecast called for, I thought it was going to be overcast the whole day, but we've got a little bit of blue sky up there. Not a whole lot, but it's generally not too bad. I mean, I'm taking this drive on March 19th. Probably won't be posted until April. But it's sort of one of those transition days where March is definitely very topsy-turvy in Pittsburgh. You might have a 60-degree day one day and have a 30-degree day another day. So things are a little on the colder side right now. We're in the high 30s. But there's no rain, there's no snow. But it is on the chilly side. We had some beautiful 60, even 70-degree weather last week, but we're back to cold weather. But that's kind of happens every March, even into April. We get some wild weather. But anyway, this is Bigelow Boulevard. We're sort of heading toward downtown, and like I said, we're going to head over to Brookline. I'll tell you all about Brookline when we get on that side of town. But if you look on a map and or if you look in the description, what I've been doing lately in the description of this video, you'll see a link for Google Maps to take you from where I started. Like I said, I was on Butler Street in Lower Lawrenceville, and we cut up through Polish Hill, and now we're on Bigelow Boulevard, and then we're going to take the Liberty Tunnels to get over to Brookline. And so I hope this is helpful. Leave a comment what you think of this video. You know, hopefully I can kind of share some things that you might find interesting as you're listening, but hopefully the view as well is kind of interesting, and you kind of get a sense of what it's like driving through Pittsburgh. So I could have taken Route 28 was another option, or I could have sort of went back across the 40th Street Bridge or the 31st Street Bridge and went Route 28 to get into town, but I chose Bigelow Boulevard, Polish Hill, coming that route. So here we are coming right toward the Steel Building, and we're taking the crosstown boulevard here to the Liberty Bridge. This whole highway was somewhat controversial, maybe in hindsight more so than, like all cities, we're building these highways to try to get people in and out of towns, but we unfortunately cut off the Hill District from downtown, which was, great neighborhood, and it's really fell on hard times, really, around the time that this highway was built. They also built the Civic Arena, and so the Hill District's never been the same since then. It's really cut off economic opportunities for that neighborhood, and they've been working really hard, especially with like the Pittsburgh Penguins, who own the Civic Arena, and then try to do different things to help that neighborhood out as much as possible, and I think with mixed results. I don't have time to get into the whole history of it, but if you would Google, the Hill District and the Penguins and the Civic Arena, you'll find a lot of information. It seems like they're always trying to find ways to do something to sort of right that original wrong, to be honest. So here we are on the Liberty Bridge, approaching the tunnels. We'll be going under the hilltop neighborhoods of like Mount Washington, and to our left is the South Side Slopes. Of course, at the bottom of the South Side Slopes is the South Side Flats. But we're going over the Monongahela River. You probably can't see it on camera right now, but that's the body of water that we're going across. And we're going to head right through the tunnel, and on the other side is the South Hills. So this is sort of the gateway to the South Hills. These tunnels were instrumental when they were first built. Like, we've got the Fort Pitt Tunnel, which is just another mile or so down river a little bit, but these tunnels were essential to connect the city of Pittsburgh with the South Hills communities, and that's when you really started seeing major developments in the South Hills with the advent of the automobile. In the 20s and 30s, I think these tunnels were done right around 1920, and so this was a major, architectural feat, because you're going under a huge community above us, which is Mount Washington, and this is, I think, about a mile long, the tunnel, if I remember correctly. But the Fort Pitt Tunnel is the one that has the gorgeous view when you're going inbound. When you're coming into downtown, you come out the Fort Pitt Tunnel and you get this beautiful skyline view. Liberty Tunnel, not as much. It just doesn't have that opening that you see downtown from. So of course we're going outbound. We were in town, and now we're going out toward the South Hills. We'll be on West Liberty Avenue in just a second, and we're going to veer off. Actually, we're going to go Pioneer. I'll show you that. We'll cut more through the neighborhood of Brookline. Looks like we're still recording, which is good. So but yeah, not too much traffic right now. It is, just so that you have context. I am not driving in rush hour. If this were maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it would be definitely more congested, but it's around noon, a little bit before noon on a Tuesday, like I said, in March. So we come out here, and we're actually going to go left up here. We're going under 51. which if we would have went 51 south, that would take you to the Baldwin area, Pleasant Hills, South Park, that direction. And if we go straight here, you would head through Dormont and then eventually get to Mount Lebanon and Upper St. Clair, points further south. But we're gonna go left here on Pioneer, and we'll show you a little bit of the Brookline neighborhood. So Pioneer runs parallel with West Liberty. West Liberty has a bunch of car dealerships as you go further up there, and can get backed up. It hasn't lately. I mean, the pandemic really changed, as it did, most cities, I'm sure, where the number of people working downtown has been reduced a lot, and therefore congestion and traffic has been reduced, which is good news if you're out and about like I am and driving a lot. We don't have, I used to, when I was a principal in Shadyside, I'd go through the Liberty Tunnel and every day, and it got backed up outside of that a lot. And I would come down Pioneer quite a bit just to avoid the congestion on West Liberty. So Pioneer is not too bad. Of course, you'd still wait at the light at the bottom, but you wouldn't have any traffic along here. So we're climbing this hill into Brookline. Like I said, this is Pioneer Avenue, and you've got all kinds of residential areas to our left and right. You've got a nice big city park up here on the left, which is Moore Park. Popular city park. My father-in-law grew up in Brookline and has all kinds of crazy stories of growing up in this neighborhood. And then his parents kept that house for a long time, and then eventually my current wife, she lived in that house, so that was right off of the street as well. So there's a little family history here to Brookline, but great community. As a real estate agent, that's probably why you're on this channel, to listen to some of my knowledge around the real estate industry and to learn Pittsburgh. So Brookline's a fantastic real estate market. It is in the city of Pittsburgh, so it is inside the city limits. But it's a great neighborhood. I think the prices relatively, especially when you compare it to other cities, great price points. The median price in Brookline is probably low to mid twos. And you can get some really good quality homes. What a lot of people love about Brookline, and you're going to see in a minute as I wrap up this video, is that Brookline has a really vibrant business district. So Brookline Boulevard has tons of restaurants and shops and sort of some of the old school stuff. You got Pita Land, which is a great little Middle Eastern Mediterranean place that's got sort of a grocery store slash little small counter that does all kinds of Middle Eastern food, Lebanese food. Of course, it's got pitas. But yeah, great real estate market. I move a lot of clients into Brookline that want to buy here because they want to be close to the city, good access to public transportation. And so here's Brookline Boulevard. We'll go left here, and just to give you a quick glimpse of it's nice and wide. You've got easy parking in Brookline, but you've got bakeries, and my barber is in Brookline. You've got a couple really great restaurants, pretty much everything you need, post office, florist, all that kind of stuff. But Brookline is a nice little, close-knit community, pretty diverse. You got people of all ages, walks of life. But like I said, it's a good place for, you're not going to get a lot of big homes in Brookline. Most are probably 3 bedrooms, probably 1.5 baths. You got a few bigger ones here and there. Lately, we're seeing more renovated homes. If you got a budget where you can spend high 2s or maybe even low 3s, you'd probably be very impressed with what you can get when you're above that median. You're going to get homes that are totally move-in ready with high-end amenities, high-end kitchens, high-end bathrooms, things like that. So here we are. I'll just give you a quick glimpse down Brookline Boulevard. I talk about Las Palmas grocery store. They've got a street taco stand down here. So that is going to wrap things up. I'm going to pull over here and end this video. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it, and please leave me some feedback. Let me know what you think of this video, and have a great day. Take care.